think my natural disposition is to just look on the brighter side, be gratitude, etc. But I actually think there's probably a good chance I was depressed at that point, being the only black girl and, you know, different kind of figure and whatever else. And you've got nothing to compare to because all your peers are just thin, white Irish girls. First day back at school, she's like, oh, look how great Lana looks and stuff like that. So even as a child, like you're 12, 13 and you're like getting this reinforcement that now that you're slimmer, you're a better person, you're more of value, you're someone who should be looked up to, right?
3 in 10 girls become insecure by the age of 16, and I think that's crazy because that's such a young age that you're in secondary school.
I feel like that's low. 3 in 10. I feel like it's probably higher. Massively recommend if you're interested in weight training but don't know where to start, like semi-private personal training, join Darnell's class on a Friday morning.
Good plug. I'm gonna use that as a teaser.
Yeah.
How do you say like hello, how are you? And I put you on the spot.
Giagwich Conasatoti.
I'm not gonna try to say that. Welcome back, guys. It is episode 12 of A Woman's Point of View. I'm gonna let my guest introduce herself. Who have I got with me today?
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Lana, or just Lana. I am a doctor, as in the title. Been qualified for about 10 years. I'm actually a GP, and I, have some expertise in the preventative health space, having worked there a lot. But I'm a women's weight management coach as well, so I do women's weight loss services online.
Love that. I can't wait to dive into this. So, as you've seen a couple of our episodes, because you're locked into the podcast, which is great, we're going to do a few quick fire round questions, just so the audience can get a bit more about you. Okay. And also me, myself as well. You got 5 seconds only, right, to answer these. Okay. So, no pressure. Gym workouts or home workouts?
Sorry, say again?
Gym workouts or home workouts?
Oh, gym workouts, 100%.
AM or PM sessions?
AM.
Your favorite music genre?
R&B.
Ooh, good shout. Upper or lower body workouts?
Ooh, I'm actually going to say upper.
Okay. Yeah. Gym classes or solo sessions?
Oh, classes, 100%. I need someone to tell me what to do.
Favorite gym class then? Let's say, what's your favorite gym class?
Oh, Darnell's, of course, yeah.
I was giving that up for that.
That was a test.
Yeah, exactly.
That's 7 a.m. Friday morning, my fave.
I'll explain a bit more about that after the quick fire. You're stuck on the island, right? And you only get to choose one out of the following. All right, so you got one dish, only one dish.
Okay.
You're stuck on the island for 2 years.
Okay.
One dish you can have. That one dish every day.
Okay. What is it?
Yeah, any dish.
You're not going to be really bored and say eggs. Because you can eat eggs. I can eat eggs every day and not be bored. And you can mix it up,
What else would you have with the eggs? One dish.
Sound really like I'm in Hackney, but it's going to sound very Hackney. Avocado.
I can't lie, that's my breakfast every day. That and avocados, that's a shout.
Yeah, little chili flakes on there. Yeah, we're good.
One tune you can have for 2 years. You can only listen to one song on the island.
No, I'd lose my mind. I'd rather listen to no music. No.
So you'd rather no music? You got one song and you get a bonus point so if you can sing it as well.
One song. I don't even know what it would be. Or who it would be. Nah.
What's the first... Okay, if you was to put on the headphones right now, what would be the first song that you put on? What would you listen to on your way here?
What was I listening to? This is the song that I actually was listening to. I don't know if I'd be able to listen to it for 2 years. Gigs talking the hardest.
Oh, okay. Wow, that might be the best answer I've got yet for this. You know what? You get bonus. You don't even have to sing it. Give you bonus points. Yeah. Everyone should know that because that's the national anthem. I mean, you can sing it if you really want to.
No. Let me not embarrass myself.
Okay, you got one piece of gym equipment that you can bring for 2 years. You can only use this one piece of equipment for 2 years.
Oh, probably a dumbbell because you can do a lot with it. So yeah.
Good shout.
Yeah.
Good shout. All right, nice. Those are the quick fire. I always love those. That was some good answers in there as
well. Thank you.
All right, so let's dive in a bit more about you. Like I like to get to know a lot about my guests. Yeah. So let's start from all the way back, like from school days.
Yeah.
Like where you grew up. Oh, sorry, before we get into that, where are you from? Because they're going to ask, where's this accent from?
Yeah. Someone yesterday was like, are you from the north of England? That was the worst one, I think. So I was born in Ireland. So I grew up, parents are from Sudan, so northeast Africa. But I was born in Ireland and raised in Ireland. So that's where that accent is from. I usually describe it now as a watered down accent because I've kind of lost it over the years. It's still there, but it's just not as strong. Yeah.
So when did you move to the UK? I was junior to
2015. So
Okay.
after I finished medical school and, you know, all of that, then I decided to come here to work. And so first place actually, because when you join medical school, where you get placed in the country for training, it's like there's all sorts of assessments and stuff that you end up doing, and then they can place you anywhere. And the first place I landed in was Grimsby. So, so that's where I was placed for my first year of training. I was like, where am I? And then Hull for the second year. But actually it was pretty good. I think because so many people just get thrown into these random places, but because you're all like fresh out of medical school, suddenly you've got money, you're getting paid, whatever, you're going through it. So it was actually quite a nice time because you had a little bit of a community feel. So I was there first. So that was 2015, 2016. And then 2018, I moved to the UK, to London, sorry. Started GP training and then finished my GP training. I've been here ever since. So 7-8 years.
So let's even go all the way back. Like, how was it growing up in Ireland?
In Ireland.
Let's go back to school. Let's go primary school, like all the way back. So primary school.
I mean, you're from Newham, so you're not going to know this feeling, but I was the only black kid in high school. Maybe one of two. I think there's one other family, Sydney's family, who also lived in the town. I lived in a small town. Most of Ireland is small town Ireland. But to give you kind of a picture of what that's like you can see cows from my window. Like that's where I live. Yeah.
I've not been to Ireland. I didn't know it was that too bad.
Yeah, in a lot of Ireland, it can be quite rural, or you're just driving through, you just see like farmland and animals and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was very, very white, but very safe. Very nice. Like I don't remember any kind of instances of racism growing up. And I think at that time, maybe because this is like the 90s, early 2000s. So at that time, there weren't that many people from abroad who lived in Ireland, and Ireland wasn't wealthy at that time. So it started to come into money mid 90s and onwards. But Ireland was quite poor when my parents moved, or relatively poor. And so there weren't a lot of people kind of emigrating there. So I think that sometimes colors people's opinions of foreigners, let's say, whatever. But at the time, like, people were just very nice, very welcoming. I never had any issues. So it was really nice. It's a very safe place to grow up. So it's a safe place to have your childhood, place where you can keep your doors unlocked. You know, you can go out, kids are out morning to night, it's no problem. Yeah, exactly. Come back when the street lights on kind of thing, you know? So it was really, really nice.
Nice. So primary school, all good. What about secondary school? How was that secondary school in Ireland?
Secondary school, oh yeah, that's tough. It's tough. So most schools in Ireland are sex segregated. So the girls go to girls' schools, boys go to boys' schools. I think it's still like that for the most part. And I think that's just kind of remnants of Catholicism and stuff like that. People aren't as, openly practicing now in Ireland, but that's how it was. So I went to an all-girls school, and then you're kind of in that awkward age, like all teenagers are. But I think being black, being overweight, being different, knowing that you're different, having parents who are different, you kind of, you want to fit in so badly. And I think that was always a bit of a struggle for me, even just having curly hair, and you've got all these people who have straight hair and you don't know what to do with this. So I always felt a little bit different, and I was always trying really hard to fit in. It wasn't until I left and went to university and kind of met people from other kind of walks of life and stuff outside of Ireland that I started to become I came more into my own and accepted who I was as I was in that way. Yeah.
You've come this far in the podcast. However, majority of you guys that watch don't actually subscribe to the channel. So all I ask for you guys is to please like and subscribe. It's going to help me to grow the channel and be able to spread the message to more women. Thank you. Let's continue on with the podcast.
These people who have straight hair and you don't know what to do with this. So I always felt a little bit different, and I was always trying really hard to fit in. It wasn't until I left and went to university and kind of met people from other kind of walks of life and stuff outside of Ireland that I started to become I came more into my own and accepted who I was as I was in that way. Yeah.
So would you do like any sports or anything like during kind of right now you're in routine, you're going gym every day. Was it always like that in school? Or when did that kind of start?
Not. I think so. In Ireland, actually, boys and girls get into sport from an early age, especially Irish sports, so Gaelic sports, so like Gaelic football, and I don't know if you're familiar with these hurling for girls. It's called camogie, but it's the same thing. It's kind of like field hockey, basically. Very fast sport, quite an intense sport as well. But everyone plays that from a young age. So I played all of those growing up. But when you're a kid, you just play for fun. And then by the time I was about 8, 9, 10 years old, I started to put on a little bit of weight, and then it all became about losing weight. So that became the only driver for me to exercise. And I think that ruined my relationship with exercise and sport at that time. So if I did it, it wasn't because I enjoyed it. It was more just like I felt like I needed to do it for, a certain goal. So I didn't. So through school, like I played a little bit of basketball here and there and whatever, but the sports I was doing before, I kind of just fell by the wayside. And then I just kind of focused on schooling or whatever else. I did do a bit of kind of like mixed martial arts for 2 years. So that was one thing I did.
Don't mess with me.
Yeah. Listen, catch me on the punch bag. Catch me outside.
Don't mess with me.
But that was it. So yeah, so a little bit of that. So it wasn't until later that I got into exercising and stuff. So I think really for me, when it changed was actually in the last couple of years. I mean, I think over the last like 10 years or so, my approach to exercise, movement and stuff has changed, and I go for enjoyment, right? I don't put any pressure on it. But I'd say in the last 3 years, I've been really consistent. And a big part of that is the gym that I go to, because, it's community focused. It's, women's gym, which I really like, because you feel more with your peers. It's much more supportive, feels less intimidating, less competitive. And then you see yourself improving. So big up Sass. Honestly, Sass, I miss Sass when I travel. And there's one point where I went away for a couple of months and I was like, I can't wait to get back just so I can get to Sass really.
Yeah.
So
I'll leave
Sass and Vicky.
a link in the description box. So I basically teach a class there on Friday. Honestly, this is the best class. Honestly, that gym, I've only been there since December, so I've only been there for a few months, but there's a very big community feel. Like I said, there's definitely like a safe space in there as well, which I think is so important.
100%.
Like even touching back in school, I saw an article on Independent that said 3 in 10 girls become insecure by the age of 16, and I think that's crazy because that's such a young age. Like they're in secondary school.
I feel like that's low. 3 in 10. I feel like it's probably higher.
Yeah.
Honestly,
do you feel like a lot of girls around you, because you was going to all girls school, obviously you'll be able to see like, because you was in class with a lot of girls, would you say it's a lot higher than that? And why would you say that is?
Yeah, I think you just get to an age where you become more aware of yourself, of your body, and then how different it is to others. But you also become more, acutely aware of what's revered when it comes to media, online, whatever. I mean, those days, geez, I sound like I'm really old. I'm 32, people. But we weren't online on our phones like that. So if we had phones, it was just a call or text or whatever. So we didn't have as much of that from phones or from social media, but it was more on TV, magazines, whatever. So like growing up, I remember watching like America's Next Top Model and all these shows, and you see what's idolized, and so that's what you try to adopt, even though you don't look anything like that. And for me, being the only black girl and different kind of figure and whatever else, and you've got nothing to compare to because all your peers are just like thin white Irish girls, that definitely plays a role. Because your body type, your makeup of your body type is going to be different genetically. So you're hoping for something that maybe is not necessarily achievable, but you think that you need to be that to be accepted. And I think now it's just inundated, saturated with that stuff. And it's not just young girls. Like I think the algorithms really do feed the things. Like it's almost like an addiction. Like you can't help but watch these things and these videos that show you, how to get this kind of body and this is what I did, or transformations or whatever. Unfortunately, the algorithm's a little bit sinister, and it knows what you're going to click onto and what will draw your attention. So people are getting programmed without necessarily realizing. And even I catch myself sometimes being like, I kind of want to change this, change that. I'm like, where is that coming from? And it's just from your feed.
100%.
Yeah.
So would you say Instagram is, do you say it's more so good or more so a negative thing? Or would you say it's more towards, or let's say if you was to rate like percentage wise, what would you say the ratio is?
I would say, I feel like the algorithm is more sinister now. But now I would say 60% bad, 40% good. And I think you have to really work hard actually to control the kind of content that you're exposing yourself to, or you're allowing yourself to expose yourself to. So sometimes just clicking that, I don't want to see this, I don't want to see that, trying to like more stuff consciously that, you know, is more positive, more empowering, then you can kind of hack the system a little bit. But otherwise, yeah, you can just get pulled in, you don't even realize it.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll totally agree with that as well, because even like you said, the more things you like, the more things Instagram will feed you. So you won't even know. Even if you watch a video, it will just feed you more of the same videos.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like information out there which confuses people because there's so much information. Yeah. Even that question for you, do you remember like your first time in the gym, or the first time, and why did you go to the gym?
To lose weight.
Like, what was the experience like? Talk us through that. Like, the first time actually stepping in the gym. Like, how did you feel?
Yeah.
Why did you go? What made you go?
Yeah. So I think so. My earliest memories, let's say, of being in the gym was when I was maybe 16, 17, and that was when I just started university. And it was purely just to lose weight. Like that was always my drive for a long time, just to lose weight. And thinking back now, knowing what I know now from being trained and taught things properly, I didn't know what I was doing. What was I doing in there? Just walking around, pulling things, moving things. I don't know what. There was no form. There was no thoughts about nothing. So it was more. I was doing a bit of weight training and a bit of like, run on the treadmill or whatever. But I think there was no kind of thing of like wanting to get stronger, wanting to get this, wanting to get that. It was just it was aimless movement around the gym, but the whole overall aim was to get slimmer. So that was my first experience. And I remember like I was going for a couple of months at the time. So I was like, keeping up with it. And I don't remember feeling any type of way. And I don't know why. This was in Lithuania about this. I didn't tell you, I don't know if I told you this, but I studied in Lithuania.
Wow, this is
this is an exclusive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I studied in Lithuania. So and also a very white place. Random, yeah.
So you went uni over there for
6 years. So
oh, really?
So medicine is 6 years, 5 to 6 years in most countries. I did. So basically, I didn't get in Ireland. I think I was just quite young and immature. I didn't fully apply myself, but I still wanted to study medicine. So I had a friend who was studying dentistry out there. So she told me come out there. Lots of people go to Eastern Europe nowadays to study abroad. So I went to Lithuania. Which is obviously a very different experience. I didn't know any better. I just wanted. I was ready to get out. I was ready to be independent. Still on my parents' dime, but ready to be independent. So all of this happened in Lithuania. And I think in Lithuania, the culture around going to the gym was more present there earlier than it is here now. So I think there were women. It was mostly men still in the gym, but there were women in the gym training and whatever else. And so all that happened out there. I did it for a couple of months and then kind of fell off. So anytime I was consistent with the gym, it was purely because I wanted to lose weight. And so of course I was never really that consistent. Yeah.
So talk to us a bit about what you do now, because it's so good. Because having you on also came to my event as well. I've
yes,
got
I did.
Videos and pictures in there.
Yeah, and I'll be at the next one. Yeah. So make sure you're there.
Got 10 out of 10 feedback on your speech and everything as well. And I think it's so good that we collab, because we kind of got the same niche, a woman that we kind of help. Yeah. So it will be interesting for the viewers to know as well, like what do you actually do? Like, how do you help women that come on board? Like, what does it look like actually working with you as a client?
Yeah. So if I kind of touch on my own story, which can kind of preface all of this so people understand where it all comes from. So as I said, gained weight around, I think I was about 7, 8, and we'd gone on holiday. Basically, I had some family out in Canada, so we went out in the summer, visited that family. We were there for like a month, and I gained a bit of weight at that time, and I wasn't aware of my body at that time. I wasn't really thinking about it. You were just a child, just living your life. But I don't know what it was, but something made me acutely aware that my body had changed, that I had put on weight, and that was a problem. And it wasn't like a lot of weight. I just became a bit more chubby, right? So I went from a very skinny child to someone who's a little bit more padded, right? But at that point, that made me really that's what kind of triggered it, I think. And so, after that, especially once I started secondary school, I was around 11, 12, I put on a lot of weight. And then I lost a lot of it. So I put on a lot of weight, and then, you know, got to a stage where I needed to lose it. So then I lost a lot of it, got really slim. I was getting complimented by everyone, you know, and the way I lost it was cutting out, basically it was low carb. I was not eating bread, not eating rice, whatever, just like everything else. No treats, no snacks, all that kind of stuff. And I was skipping. So I was using a skip rope at home. I would just skip at night, just doing loads and loads and loads of skipping. And I did lose loads of weight. As I said, lots of compliments. Even I still remember even one of my school teachers being like, "Oh, look at," it was like the first day back at school. She's like, "Oh, look how great Lana looks," and stuff like that. So even as a child, like you're 12, 13, and you're like getting this reinforcement that now that you're slimmer, you're a better person, you're more of value, you're someone who should be looked up to, right? But then of course, like that whole thing was unsustainable, and then I gained the weight again and gained more, and then that just carried on. It just became a cycle of trying to diet, trying to change my body, and obviously, as I said, watching, you know, these women on TV who didn't look like me, or the people around me who didn't look like me, and feeling inadequate because of that. And then it just got trapped in that cycle over and over and over again. And that carried on right into my early 20s. So, you know, and I think at one point when I was 19, I was so deathly afraid of entering my 20s and still being overweight, because I knew that the older I got while still being overweight, I believe in this whole kind of like set point, and you know, of what your baseline weight will be, and that you'll never come off of that. And I was so afraid of that I was like, right, that's it. Before my 20th birthday, I'm gonna, you know, get in the gym, I'm gonna lose all this weight, and that's it. And then I did. And then again, I lost a significant amount of weight and started getting complimented, started feeling more confident, et cetera, but very quickly gained it all back. So at that point, I think I was calorie counting quite strictly, and I was in the gym. Like I was getting up like 5, 6 in the morning, going to, and Lithuania, especially through the winter, like it is cold. It is like up to like as low as minus 30. Huh? So yeah, black people are not supposed to endure that kind of weather.
Excuse me,
minus 30. Imagine the wind hitting you at that temperature.
Minus 30? Is that even like possible? I don't know ever. The coldest place I've been to is Iceland.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna die, and I was like, I'm not even that. It
Yeah.
was so cold. I think it got up to like minus like 7.
Yeah.
And minus like as in 30.
30. So that was the coldest I remember. So it was very cold. And it's not just cold. People don't understand that it's also wet because there's snow everywhere. And if your shoes are not waterproof, because that you can have that cold, you know, wetness just waterlogging your feet, and then your feet are frozen. So yeah, but I was getting up, you know, through the winter, and you know, it's dark, it's cold, whatever, and I would go to the gym, and the gym opened at 6 a.m. I'd be in there 6 a.m. And I would train or whatever. But the problem was, you know, I was getting results, but the problem was anytime I would slip or not go to the gym, or if I didn't count calories or ate something wrong or whatever, I would beat myself up so much about it. So let's say over 5-6 months, lost a lot of weight. Then, you know, went on a family holiday, we're taking it easy, and then the weight, like it crept up a little bit, and the panic sets in, right? But then you just end up falling out of that cycle all over again. So, or falling into it, really, into the trap. And so I gained all the weight back in a very short period of time, like half the time it took me to lose it. And that was, you know, that was kind of like a rock bottom for me. Okay. And it coincided with a time. So I did a year exchange. So a year of those 6 years, I did on exchange in France. So I did a year of my studies in France, in Lyon. And so I'm in this new city, don't know.
Sorry, traveled.
I've been around. Yeah, more exclusives for you.
First I'm hearing this as well.
So new city, you know, language, having to do everything in this new language, which I thought, I'll probably be all right with French. I had, you know, secondary school French, A-level French.
Not the same.
No. And so that was really tough, you know, don't have my circle of friends, you know, getting into new environment, etc. And so all this coincided with me gaining a lot of that weight as well. And I think I was just really low. And I don't think I fully recognized it at the time, because I think my natural disposition is to just, you know, look on the brighter side, be gratitude, etc. But I actually think there's probably a good chance I was depressed at that point. But a mild depression, I would say. But what the worst bit was that because of, you know, the weight loss, so then the rebound weight gain, I felt out of control. And what that led to was binge eating. And so I started, you know, like really eating to the point of like pain, discomfort and pain. And that was something new to me. So I would just like stuff, and then feel awful and feel really uncomfortable. And of course, with that comes the guilt, the shame, etc. And so that went on kind of on and off for a couple of months. Eventually I snapped out of it. And I think I started, reading online. And this is when these new ideas came into my mind about undoing the effects of diet culture, changing your relationship with yourself, self-acceptance, all that kind of stuff, self-worth. And slowly it moved away from that. But it's so funny because, you're a medical student, you're studying things like psychiatry. And I remember studying for a psychiatry exam and going through my notes and stuff, making all these notes and seeing that one of the eating disorders that I was studying about, I was like, oh my God, I have a lot of these symptoms. Thankfully, by that point, I'd kind of stepped away from it. I started to see from a different perspective. And maybe it was fed into what was feeding into it was the fact that I also felt a little bit low. But from the other things surrounding it. But I think that was probably the rock bottom when it comes to food and eating and how I felt about myself. And then slowly over the next couple of years, I started to change that whole perception. And so what I did was I started stopping restricting foods, stopping dieting, really actively working on changing how I spoke to myself, self-worth, acceptance, forgiveness, all these kind of things that people go through in therapy now. I think I was just doing, through books and reading, with myself. And ever since that moment, once I stopped all of that, I accepted my body as it was and accepted myself as I was. And it wasn't that I was a failure, that I was still worthy of love and acceptance and all these things. That's when things started to change. So my perception around food changed because things stopped being forbidden. So I allowed myself to eat what I want, and then you naturally start making the right choices. Same with exercise, with movement. I didn't feel like I had to force myself to do this or do that or whatever. If I wanted to move or exercise because I wanted to, not because I felt like I had to. Or that it was for some specific weight loss goal or some number. And so, completely transformed my life. And then gently over the years, I've lost 20 kg.
Wow.
And that's not intentional. It wasn't that was what I was setting out to do. It was more just a byproduct of me undoing all the harm that I had, that had happened beforehand. So and so now what I do, it's incorporating not only like kind of my medical expertise, my preventative health expertise, but also my own experiences, is I provide a service for women in their 20s to 40s, so in that age group where they've struggled with their weight for a long time. A lot of them, from teen years, where they felt insecure, maybe they were a little bit overweight, maybe not massively, but since then they have these issues with weight. They're constantly on and off diets, constantly gaining weight, losing weight, etc., feeling like maybe they'll never be slimmer, etc. So and so that's what I do. So I have a whole program that I've worked on over a long time and mapped out step by step, and I work with these women one-to-one. We do check-in sessions regularly. I only take on a few clients at a time just so I can give them that time that they need. And essentially, a lot of people think it's it's going to be things like meal plans and this, recipes and this, that and the other. It's none of that. It's the first 6 weeks are actually just all around the psychology and undoing all the harms and the way you think about yourself and learning to accept yourself as you are. Then we move on to food and food behaviors and the things that tend to trigger certain food behaviors like snacking or binging or whatever it might be. And so undoing all of that, becoming more in tune with your own body, because if you have already learned to accept your body as it is, you're more likely to take on health behaviors that, look after and nurture it. And that's what's going to lead you to that weight loss. And that's what happened for me. And then the last kind of 6 weeks will be around kind of more lifestyle medicine stuff. So that's things like sleep, which is really important. Things like stress management, your social relationships, your connections, community. All these things are so important. So it's not, a PT program. It's not any of that. It's not once they're done with the program, I pass them on to you. Because if they want to, exactly.
We need to actually sit down and actually work out something for sure. Especially after the event, I was like, it was so well working together. Like we definitely need to.
100%.
This is exclusive for you guys.
You guys heard it
come
now.
out. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's more about, because once they've changed their relationship with movement, with food, with all of these things, if they want to get in the gym, they're going to do it because they enjoy it, because they want to build strength, because it's a skill, because it's, there's other goals that aren't, focused on, their weight or how they look. Same with the kind of feelings that they get from it, the, endorphins and the clarity, mental clarity, the energy, all these kind of things. Once you start to actually hone in and pay attention to these things, it does become something that just becomes your lifestyle because you enjoy it so much and so important to you. Like even for me now, consistent over the last 3 years, but it's not been something I've had to push at. It's something I feel is missing if I'm not doing it. And I was never that person. Yeah.
I feel like everything you touched on is so important because like nobody really talks about, like, how you said before they come to me, no one talks about that stage beforehand. Yeah. Like I had 2 clients yesterday, right? Obviously, predominantly I train women. Probably 90% of my clients are women. And I was doing a check-in with a new client. So we do the weight, we do measurements, we do like other factors to kind of like just track progress. And like she actually started crying when she was about to jump on the scale. And I was like, it's fine. It's just like it's a check-in. It's all good. I was like, the weight doesn't mean like everything being an end all. But she got really emotional. Yeah. So I feel like that stage before, and if she had that kind of set up beforehand, she would have been set up in terms of like, okay, just because the number's saying this, it doesn't mean X, Y, Z, etc. So I feel like it is so important. And especially because like you explained with your story, it's all like life experiences. So you're kind of like, although at the time you might think it was a bad thing, it's actually a good thing because you're able to now help other people before they have to actually 100%. Go through that. 100%. What would you say is, out of the 3 parts that you've got in terms of what you offer for your clients, is like the most important part of it, would you say?
The mental side, the psychology, 100%. I think, them, because that's why it's the foundation. That's why it's what I start off with. Because again, if you don't believe that, if you believe you're a failure, which a lot of these women do actually feel deep down when they dig, they feel they're a failure, they feel like they failed at this, failed at that, and they're not destined to succeed, then your behaviors, subconsciously or consciously, are going to reflect that. And when you eat certain things that you feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or when you do this, whatever it is, or you don't go to gym, you think it's something like, oh, I just don't have enough discipline or willpower. No, it's because you don't believe in yourself. And so I think that is most transformative, and I think that is most important. And even as a doctor, I know that if you love your body exactly as it is, you appreciate it for things that aren't physical. So, having legs that move and carry you through the world, having arms that allow you to hold other people. Most of the time women are focusing on the parts of their body they hate, but what about all the amazing things that it does for you? And once you start to look at it from that lens, you're going to be more inclined to take care of it and do things that make your body feel good. And then lo and behold, you're going to find you probably eat better. You don't stuff yourself as much. You move more. You just naturally become a different person.
So would you say, in terms of like, I don't know if barrier is the word, but would you say that is the biggest barrier that you have with encounters that you have with clients, in terms of like just the way how women think and perceive themselves first?
Yeah.
You say?
I think self-belief is a big issue that they have, and it's understandable as well, because they've tried these things so many times before. They've tried diets and all these plans or whatever, and then they don't get anywhere, or they do for a short time, but then they end up back where they were, and they blame themselves. There's so much self-blame when it's not something that you're doing. It's the tools you've been given are the wrong tools, and everyone's going to be different. But people who've been this is why I cater to women in this group. If you've been struggling with your weight for a long time, with your self-image for a long time, you need a different set of tools, and that's what I offer and what I present and how I help them.
Nice. Okay. In terms of people out there watching and they want to kind of get hold of you, where can they kind of like find you? How can they get onto this?
Oh yeah.
Where can they find you?
Yeah. So what I said, the 40%, good social media. I'm in that 40%, as is Darnell, but I'm in that 40%. So you can find me on IG, Dr. Lana Says. So at Dr. Lana Says. There's also my website, which has some information about my program. You can book a free consultation there as well. So that's drlanasays.com. You can email me, hello@drlanasays.com. It's very consistent. So
I'm gonna leave it all in the description below as well.
Perfect.
In terms of like going back to you, for example, have you had like any like bad experiences along in terms of in the gym, in the fitness journey, would you say? or any that you remember and been like,
No, I do remember. It's so strange, but I know that like back when I was in those early days at uni, like I went to the gym and I don't remember feeling a type of way getting in there, feeling insecure or whatever. But I know that like a couple of years ago, around the time, actually no, I started going to SAS, the SAS Women's Gym, you know, regular doing all the classes, and I felt really comfortable there. And then, but I still hadn't really gone to my own local gym that much independently. And then my brothers are all, especially my oldest and my youngest brother, I've got 3 brothers. They're gym rats, I call them. So they're in the gym all the time, always shaking the protein bottle on their way anywhere. And so my youngest brother, I don't know, I guess I was just talking to him about being like, oh, I don't know. And he's like, no one cares. No one cares what you're doing there. So we actually went and trained together one time. Okay. And he was like, see, get over yourself. I was like, oh my God, he's right. Everyone's doing their own thing. And then after that, I became very comfortable. So I think that was really important just for me to just feel, you know, now if I go in, still don't like to gym myself. I don't mind it, but it's just like, I make a lot of decisions at work. I want to go somewhere where someone tells me what to do. My brain is too tired to do it. So I just want to be told what to do, get my workout in. It's efficient because it's done in 45 minutes and I'm out.
Other people as well, which is good. You're training with other people as well. Which is
yeah. And that's motivating as well. So, you know, and you feel like you get a little bit of competition. It's like, oh, she's stronger than me. I want to get stronger than her.
She's so strong, by the way. I'm going to add in a video. We done deadlifts yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
I've got that video. So I'm going to add that on the screen. She's strong. She's been humble
right
now.
That was light work. I'm post-injury, guys.
But in terms of, because the reason why I asked about that was because a lot of women that I get on board of me, they just usually say that they're intimidated by the free weights and like scared of going to free weights. So that was my next question. Like, how did you overcome that, or did you ever have that to overcome in the first place?
Not necessarily, but I think a lot of that is because of the setup I had from going to so basically what I do at the SAS gym, this women's gym, is semi-private personal training. That's what I do the most and what I really love. The first time I went in there, and it was on the recommendation of a friend who was going regularly, and she really loved it. Shout out to Sharika. But the first time I went in there, I remember, and it was really small. So the SAS gym was a lot smaller then.
Yeah, because there was an other location.
Yeah, it was down the road. It was very small. It could hold max 5-6 people really in a class. First time I went in there, we're going through these circuits, doing all these weights and whatever. And halfway through the class, I'm on the floor, my legs in the air because I'm near fainting. And then afterwards, got back into the exercise, into the class or whatever, finished. And when I left, I immediately signed up for 10 more classes. Just there and then, because I loved it. I was like, this is great. And that's what kind of kept me going. But I learned a lot from that. So about what to do, what exercises form, etc. And it just gave me that confidence. And that has set me up to be able to just go in the gym and do what I want to do and feel like, even if like, the machine I want to use isn't working, okay, I can think of something else that I can do that could, work on those same muscles. So I think that really helped. So I massively recommend, if you're interested in weight training but don't know where to start, like semi-private personal training, join Darnell's class on a Friday morning.
Good fun. I'm going to use that as a teaser.
Yeah. Free promo. But yeah, it's like max 5 to 6 women, and it's great.
Yeah. Even like me teaching, I kind of love that teaching style. So I've also got a workshop, another plug.
Oh, yeah.
On the Monday, I see Hustle Gym.
Yeah.
And it is a women's weightlifting workshop.
Yeah.
It's kind of essentially the semi-private, but we focus on compound lifts. But it's pretty much the same format, like it's small groups of people, and I get to specifically watch their form. I love classes as well, which you would have seen from the Bashment Beat Camp. But this is more like focused on strictly weightlifting rather than the beat camp. More like fun, like everyone's lifting together and there's people. And I feel like it's so effective. But in terms of like advice, so let's say for example, if a woman's come to you, she only got a couple minutes, but she's hesitant to start a fitness journey. Low on self-confidence. Obviously, they need to book a call with you anyways. Yeah.
We're just full of plugs today.
Let's say she's only got 2-3 minutes. What piece of advice would you kind of give her on the spot? Like, would you say?
Yeah, I would say if you want to be consistent, go and find the enjoyment in it. And I would say don't do exercise that you don't like. If you hate going to the gym, don't go to the gym. If you hate running, don't run, whatever. Exercise, anything that gets your heart rate up and your breathing rate up is exercise. So I say, like, if you like dancing, go dancing. If you like doing whatever it might be, if you like it, you're going to be consistent with it and you're going to keep going anyway. So it doesn't have to be what everyone else is telling you to do. So that will be my primary piece of advice. But on just kind of tag on to that, I would say, don't go because you have a set goal to lose X number of weight or reach this or reach that. Go start to really hone in on how you feel from those classes and the things that are not the goals and the achievements that are not weight based, not in terms of your body itself. So it might be that maybe you can lift heavier weights. Maybe you are fitter than before. You're not getting as breathless as much. Like maybe you feel really energized. Maybe you feel like your day goes better. If you start really paying attention to those cues, that's going to get you hooked, essentially. So that would be my advice.
People are going to think I've stole this because we literally shot some reels in the gym earlier. And I actually said,
no way.
So just, because you guys are going to see that after this.
Listen, this man's plagiarizing my lines.
I said it first. So that's literally like spot on because even like meet with me, I don't just go to the gym. I play football. I do boxing. I go for runs. I do this, I do that because I can't just go to the gym. Like I'll find it boring because my background before gym, I started playing football. So like I used to high intense kind of stuff. So supplement that with the gym, it just makes it more sustainable. And what I've realized is with people that usually come board or inquire on anything, people that say, oh, how long is it going to take me to use X amount? They're the people that never really stick to it because instead of thinking about the fundamentals, like, oh, okay, this, I learn to do this, learn to do that. They're thinking too far ahead. You need to get the basics right. So I thought that's kind of like spot on, kind of what you said.
100%, yeah. Because I think, and I understand the drive, and that's what gets people in the gym in the first place, that motivation, like I want to lose X amount of stuff. But you cannot predict what your body will do. And everyone's body's going to be different. It's going to plateau at different times. It's going to lose at different times. It's going to do whatever, but you can't control that. But what you can, it's more about focusing on the habits that you can control. And the habits are much easier if you enjoy them.
Even like advice for if you could go back in a time machine, you said you're 32 now, if you go back to your 16-year-old self, like, and you could sit down opposite you right now, you see on a 16-year-old, what would you say to her?
I'll give her a hug first. And I would say, be kinder to yourself. Actively be kinder to yourself. Really focus and hone in on that because, your life and your best life is on the other side of that.
Oh, love that. Powerful. Guys, stay tuned because we'll definitely have a talk after then. Definitely see how we're going to collab. The festival was so good. Do you have anyone you want to shout out? Anything you definitely want to add that maybe we didn't touch on or anything like that? Anyone you want to shout out? Or anything you want to add on that we didn't cover?
Anything that I want to add on? Oh, I'm going to be kicking myself later because I'll
probably
forget.
I should have said that.
Cash App? No.
I'll leave my one and say yours.
No, I would just say if any of this resonated with anyone who's listening, if your story mirrors mine in any way, just reach out. Send me a DM on IG, send me an email, book a call. I don't bite, there's no pressure. Let's just see if, we could start something new for you if that's what you want. But let's just start a conversation. It might just open your eyes to things and you might move on, to do things yourself, but it'll change your perspective.
Okay.
But yeah, don't hesitate.
Before we wrap up, so how many countries have you actually been living in, say?
Living in?
Let's say Ireland. I said more. Lithuania, France,
the UK. In terms of living, I don't know. We used to spend a lot of summers in Sudan, like 2-3 months at a time, going to Sudan to visit family and stuff like that. So I don't know if that counts as living, but it felt like living. When you're a kid and you want to be back home in Ireland with all your friends and stuff, you're like, oh my God, when will this end? Yeah. And so those are the countries we've lived in. Yeah.
So how many languages do you speak?
So obviously English. I don't know how well, you tell me. So Arabic, because that's what I speak at home. French, I was a bit rusty now. Okay. I have learned a lot of languages in my time, to be fair. So Irish, you grew up, so Irish is its own language. A lot of people don't know that.
How do you say like, hello, how are you? I put you on the spot.
Giagwich Conasatoti.
I'm not going to try to say that. I'm not
Good, because that's all I've got. I'm so glad you didn't test me more.
I thought it was gonna be hi, how are you? Sounding a bit short.
No, Giagwitch, yeah, is hello.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it doesn't sound anything like English. So yeah, you learn Irish from a young age in school, and then you have to do things like poetry and essays and whatever. So I did all that, but I forget now.
Yeah.
Even Lithuanian, I learned Lithuanian. My Lithuanian wasn't bad. It was pretty good actually. Normally, like I remember going around and like I'd be in the shops sort of. I could just get around basically with it. But if I'd be in the shops and stuff like that, or speaking to someone, and then Lithuanian, like an old lady would turn around and be like, "How do you speak? How do you speak so well?" That's all gone now. It's been so long. I've been out of Lithuania 10 years. Learned a bit of Latin because I had to for medical school. I've had a lot of exposure.
I feel like that is so important. Like I feel like when I have children, I want them to learn a couple of different languages.
Yeah.
Learn how to swim as well.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, that's on like the top of my list. Which is black people know how to swim.
I know.
My mum made sure
Yeah.
that when I was doing karate, football, all these other sports, that I learned to swim because she never knew how to swim. And she was like, all my kids, so like both my sisters know how to swim as well.
That's so good.
I feel like that's so important.
100%. Yeah, and languages.
Yeah. Do you know how to swim?
I do. So
Okay, cool.
we used to, in school in Ireland, we used to have swimming lessons. I don't know if this is a thing in the UK, but all through schooling, like through primary school, you would have swimming lessons once a week. But the way, I don't know, it was just my parents were shocked that we actually still didn't know how to properly swim after that. Because I think for those who already knew how to swim, they put them in a different section and they were, doing laps and whatever. And for us that were still learning, they would kind of teach us some things, but a lot of it was just play. And so we never really got the proper fundamentals. So I could get from A to B, but I didn't know how to tread water. And so that was always a struggle. But in the last couple of years, and so it's never too late to learn something. In the last couple of years, I actually just, whenever I go on holiday, and beach holidays, whatever, I would get my friends to be like, show me how to do it. And I just keep doing that every time. And a lot of it's just mental because it's actually it's not difficult to tread in the sea and stuff like that. Yeah. So once you get over that kind of mental fear, it's a lot easier. Now I'm jumping off boats and stuff. So every time before it happens, I'm like, oh, can I do this? And then you do. So I've just learned through friends.
So important. Even in terms of, it's good that we didn't finish. Like I've got 2 more questions I want to ask.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
So in the next, where do you actually want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? Like yourself, like where would be your dream scenario?
Yeah.
Or just lifestyle, work, what would be your dream place to be?
I have a goal to help 1,000 women. So 1,000 women to completely transform, their relationship with their bodies, and essentially it'll transform their life, and get to a much healthier state, from the inside out. So that's number 1. I want to be in Dubai, man. I've been manifesting this, but somewhere sunny and warm for sure. So I'm hoping that in the next few years that'll be the move, and I think those are probably some of the biggest goals. Probably settled down. Yeah.
That was my follow-up question.
Yeah.
Because even with Dubai, I feel like it's so good in terms of what you do. Because you can help some people online as well. You can kind of be remote.
Yeah.
Kind of why I'm trying to really grow my online presence as well.
Yeah.
It allows you to kind of be remote, work from everywhere.
Yeah.
The fitness industry and things that we do is very big over in places like Dubai as well. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity.
100%.
It's hot. Yeah.
So I need. I'm done with the Lithuania type weather.
No, mine is 30. I still haven't got over that. I can't lie. That is I didn't even know that was possible.
No. You don't know what kind of layers you need for that. You've not lived.
Mine is 30. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then my final question was going to be just in terms of your goals and starting a family and things like that.
Oh yeah.
What would you kind of implement in your children that maybe that you didn't have growing up, or maybe that you did have growing up, that you then pass on to your children?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. I think more of a positive relationship with their body.
Okay.
And just being a bit more in tune. So, rather than the physical attributes, size, whatever, just them getting into whatever exercise they enjoy, sport they enjoy, whatever, and just doing it because they really like it. And I think that would be the biggest thing. Yeah, just getting them to move whatever way. Kids love to move, sometimes too much. But yeah, so that just encouraging them to whatever sport it is, whatever movement style it is, that is a part of their life. Because if it's a part of their lifestyle from a young age, it's going to be for the rest of their lives.
100%. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. That was episode 12. If you got this far, you better be liking and subscribed already. You have to be. If you got this far, you have to be subscribed.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for looking into episode 12. See you on the next one.
Yeah.